Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words, become much more articulate. In today's episode, we are talking about the difference between a businessman and an entrepreneur. The reason that being able to spot the difference is very important for this channel is because this channel discusses communication skills. And if you think about business and entrepreneurship, what's the first thing that comes to mind? For me, it's money. And whenever I think about money, whether it's a dollar bill, $5 bill, even a penny, if someone's giving it to me, the first thing I am capable of spotting nowadays is that it's a person that is giving me the money. It is not a dog. It is not a horse. It is not a robot. It is a human being. Only a human being can give me money. And it may seem like a very, okay, who cares? What's the big deal type of observation. But it's important indeed. Because when I realize that only a human being gives me money, what I realize is that at the fundamental level, business and entrepreneurship, it's all about communication skills. So if you understand communication skills, you will understand the essence of business and entrepreneurship, which is to do something where someone will want to give you some money. Okay? So that's what these two have in common. They have communication skills uniting both of the different fields. But the difference is that for businesses, more specifically a businessman, they find a market that is already existing, and then they set up shop within that market, while an entrepreneur creates a market. And let me give you some examples. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson was not only an amazing basketball player, he's also an amazing businessman. One of the reasons that he's a successful businessman is because he's capable of seeing what others are doing, and he sets up shop in that market. Every now and then he makes it a little bit better. One of the examples is with his Magic Johnson movie theaters. There's already a market for movie theaters. So what he does is that he sees that there's demand. He sets up shop in the movie theater market. Every now and then he makes it a little bit better. He puts his brand name on it. He has unique food, unique drinks. He has different style screens. But ultimately, he is setting up shop within a pre-existing market. This is a businessman. Think about Steve Jobs though. Steve Jobs, at a certain point, him and his crew in Apple, they were brainstorming. They were thinking. This was roughly around 2004, 2005, where most of these smartphones, they weren't that smart. There was the BlackBerry, Sony Ericsson, one of those flip phones. You pretty much used your phone to either play Snake, to text, and to make calls. Not much else. Steve Jobs, he thought about it in a different way. He thought, it's too much buttons. Even the stylus, I'm not a big fan of that. How about we only have one button, and this phone allows people to do different things. Rather than just play games, they could eventually record videos. They could hear themselves talk. They can create apps. They can do much more. This tool will allow them to surf the web. Others are looking at Steve Jobs and they're wondering, is this guy going crazy? Where's the markets for what he's describing? A phone with only one button. There were no markets. It's because Steve Jobs is an entrepreneur. He creates the market. And that's exactly what he did. He created a new market, which was the iPhone. And from the iPhone, and now other businessmen saw that, oh, whoa, this smartphone market, we could set up shop here. And that's how Samsung and Droid came to be. Entrepreneurs require a lot of faith. Because what is faith? Faith is us moving a certain direction without much evidence. And by evidence, I mean that we don't have that much data from our senses to evaluate our internal compass that's saying, champ, keep going in that direction. So entrepreneurship requires a high level of faith and creativity, while with businessmen, you need to have that ability to read markets. You need to be more analytical in nature. The thing is that entrepreneurs over time need to become somewhat of a businessman. If you're simply one of these guys that's only trying to innovate, but you're not creating processes to turn that value creation into value capture, aka money, then you're going to die out. You're just going to be too much of a rebel. And that's what happened to Steve Jobs in the beginning stages. He was too much of an entrepreneur. His second stint in Apple, he was able to come back more so as an entrepreneur leading the way with a little bit of businessman in the mix as well. An entrepreneur over time must become a businessman, but a businessman may not always become an entrepreneur. This businessman may say, look, I'm not trying to create no market, because creating a market requires a lot of risk, and business in itself is already a risk. So this guy says, look, I'm just going to see what other people are doing around me, and I'm just going to do that. So a businessman can have some quick success because they already have the proof of concept, but the entrepreneur, they need to create the proof of concept. Although these two fields have communication skills merging them, they're still different. The entrepreneur creates the market, while the businessman finds a market and hops into it and sets up shop there. Which one are you? Are you more entrepreneurship minded or are you more business minded? Both make a dent on this world. It's just they go about their strategies in a different way. If you enjoyed today's talk, go on and drop that like for me right on below. And thank you very much for joining the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel.